Hello everyone and welcome to The Well-Educated Artist and another adventure in making acrylic skins. I have been painting koi and I was trying to figure out, how you can make an acrylic skin koi that's highly detailed without having the pour paint run all over the place as pour paint tends to do. Well, I wanted to get a definite shape. So I recently saw Heather Mader's video talking about Tanya Munn's technique and using hot glue and making animals, plants, and other things. And she essentially uses the hot glue on glass and she transfers them over onto pour painting. So I'm like, maybe I can make skins this way and have all the detail that I need to make. So that is what we are going to do. So I have a printout of a koi here. Now I've just placed this template underneath a silicone mat so that I can trace it. You really can use any color other than black. The white, it's not going to show through the black ones, but the blue ones, the pink ones, the little cheap mats about this size, yes, it will show through. You do not have to use clear. You can just see it really well with the clear, but you can see the outline through most mats other than the black or the super opaque white ones or gray ones. These heavy duty ones you can't see through, but the little thin ones, I don't have one available because I'm using them all right now. But you can see through them if they're hot pink or whatever. The really thin ones, you can see right through them. So no big deal. We're just going to put them on our silicone and we're going to outline a picture. You can draw it, you can pull it off, whatever. You're going to be transforming it into a skin. So as long as you have what you need, you can do it freehand as well. So what I'm going to do is use my glue gun. This is not the best glue gun for this. I need to get another one that doesn't have this stand because while the stand is convenient on this little mini, it actually gets in my way. So if you have one without it, it's going to work better. The other suggestion that I have is not to use the little mini sticks, these little 4-inch sticks, but to go ahead and get the 8-inch sticks like this. I'll try to leave a link on where to get those from. The 8-inch ones are a little bit harder to find, but they make life a lot easier. I don't currently have one in there, but I'm going to switch my sticks over to an 8-inch stick. That way I don't have to keep changing my sticks in the middle of my outlines. Okay, so what you're going to do is just take your glue gun and start outlining. You don't want to touch your gun to the mat when you outline unless you want a flat outline. You can do it with a flat outline, but you can just hold it over the top and move it like this. It's not the easiest thing to learn how to do, I'm going to be honest. And wherever you mess up, the good news is with a silicone mat, if you let it dry for a second, you can just pull it right up. You can't do that if you're doing that straight onto a canvas, but you can with the silicone. And by the way, I have tried it with freezer paper. No, the answer is no, you cannot do it with freezer paper because freezer paper is paper and it actually does stick to the freezer paper, so you don't want to use that. You do want to make sure that you've closed up all of your pieces so that the paint does not run out if you're going to use pour paint on this, and that's what I plan to do. So okay, hold on a second. You also get the joys of the strings. Makes a really good koi, because koi is like a catfish and they have whiskers. Clean this up a little bit, and as I said, if you want to remove it, I hate to remove the whole thing. There's a couple ways to do it. If you just want to remove the whole thing, it'll pull straight up. I do not want to do that in this case. And where do my scissors go? Over there. Okay. You also can cut it with scissors. The other little thing you can do, if it's too hard to cut with your scissors, what you can do is use your blowtorch, heat it up. That will also get rid of the little strings, but you heat it up, and then you can take your little surgical scissors and just cut it like that and cut it off. Now, unfortunately, that has raised it, so that's a little bit of a problem because your paint will tend to, go out because the paint will then go under the glue, and you don't want that to happen. So try not to do that, but it takes a little bit of practice. And you can see this is not the best glue job. If I don't like my glue job, you're like, what? Yes, you can just pull it off, and you can see where it did not really stick well. So we can just pull that off, get rid of it. It's a waste of a lot of glue, but you can. So Back to doing this again. I'm going to start back here. It's up to you how much detail you want to do. If you know you're going to be coloring different colors, you might want to outline things that are different colors. Notice that anything that's not attached, so if I don't attach that, like you see right there, then it's not going to be there. So I can make that with paint. The other thing is I'm going to make my eyes out of paint. In order to make my eyes out of paint, all I'm going to do, and I'm just going to do it next to my fish so I know that's their eyes, is going to make a dot, and I dip it into the dot and flatten it a little bit. Try to make two eyes that are similar. That one's not very similar. The good news is if you don't like that eye, you can go back and do the next one. So you have two matching eyes, or whatever size you want. Like I said, it depends how much you want as far as the detail. You can bring lines if you want. It's just more ways to mess up. Okay, so once you've got your outline done, then you can work on filling it in. The easiest way to fill this in is with your bottles of pour paint. You can just go in, and since it's stuck down, it will stay and fill in with paint. Don't overfill it because then it will come over the line, but just fill it like this. It doesn't matter whether you've got pre-mixed pour paint like this or you can use it in a bottle like this. I'm just going to do some white and some orange. So I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to put my orange down in dollops. Now he can have some on his head. Put some through here. And go ahead and put some through here. Right around this part of the head is always a good bet. And then on his fins. Give him some spots. And even down into here. And as you can see, we're just going to continue to fill in. It is going to settle. There's Floetrol in this. It does evaporate. So knowing that it does evaporate, it's going to settle down. And then we're going to go over the outlines, or you can leave them clear. It's kind of up to you. But this is the basic shape and the basic look of our fish. And if you want to, since I didn't put the eyes in there, if you just want to put your eyes so you know where they're going to go, you can do that as well. Okay. That way you know where it goes. And you can just leave it as that. You don't have to put in eyes, but I'm going to put these eyes in. And all I'm going to do is paint them, because now that they're hard, I've got paint now on it. Now that they're hard, all you do is take a paintbrush, use some black paint, just black acrylic paint. It really doesn't matter what kind, whether it's craft paint or not. And you can just paint the eyes and make them as realistic as you want. They're not going to have 3 eyes, and I'm being very messy, but you also can take a smaller brush, just like you can when you're painting. It's just funny what you can do with this. And put some white paint on there, and I would suggest letting this dry, but just to speed things up, I am going to do it like that. I'm going to finish up on some of the details, and then I'm going to let this sit for probably around 48 hours. So our skin is dry, and here it is. And here's an up-close picture of that. Now, we are not done. Now, we are completely dry. It looks really shiny because I have some paints that are super shiny and some that are sort of matte. So I've got kind of an interesting look here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to work on the outsides. It looks a little messy right now. So I am going to go over my outline. Now, you can really outline these in any color, or you could just leave them just like this. But I am going to do an outline, meaning I'm going to color in my glue. You can also use different colors of glue when you make these. For example, you can buy gold glue sticks or any color of glue stick out there. They're available in the mini and the large sizes. Clear is just an easy alternative. It's cheap. These cost a lot more, but you can do either or. I am going to use a marker. Now, all markers are not the same, and I'm sitting here moving these up and down. These are acrylic markers. This is a De La Rani one, which is one color of gold, and this one is a Liquitex. This one is iridescent antique gold. I actually prefer the Liquitex one. Not all are the same. What I don't like, and I'll just show you this, many of them, when you do this, you're going to get a yellow cast, and the coverage is not going to be that great. You can see how yellow that looks, which actually is okay on this fish. If it goes along with that, then it works fine. Actually, that doesn't look bad at all. The Liquitex one, if you want to see the difference, you can see that it is actually gold. So if you're looking for that antique, what you'd actually think of as gold color, you have to be careful and find the right color of gold. So if I go over this, also this one covers up the paint that gets on the hot glue, so it just does a better job with coverage. So you just kind of have to find a marker set that works for you. So all I'm going to do is go through and go over these outlines and cover up any of the glue. You may have hard places. You can actually take your torch and soften these places if you want to. Just be careful that you don't torch your paint when you do that, because we are working with dry paint at this point. So give me just a second, and I am going to go over all of these lines. Now, the good news, if you are a messy colorer and you go outside of the lines around the mat, then you're still good to go, because you're going to remove this from the mat. We're going to do that here in a second. Another thing I did not mention when I started this was that I had made little eyes, if you remember, and here's one of the extra eyes that I made, and I went ahead and attached those when it was still wet. So this set for about 2 days, and you really probably should wait about 48 hours just to make sure it's nice and dry before you do any finishing work or you remove it from your mat. It may be dry in 24 hours, but this one definitely set for 48. And after about 8 hours, I went ahead and put the eyes in there. You can glue them, use diamond glaze or another glue, even craft glue, and glue them after the fact if you want to put the eyes, but that's where the eyes came from. Since we're done, we can just remove this from the silicone mat. And this is the fun part, because you go, did all of my work pan out here? All I'm going to do is lift up my mat. My mat makes it so simple, and very gently. So far, I don't want to jinx myself, so good. As we lift this up, you can see that I see a little string, see a little bit of paint that has gone outside of the margin. But all in all, you can see where I've gone outside the lines there. It turned out pretty well. Just to show as an example, there it is. Now, what do you do with this? Well, these are wonderful when you want to add something to your paintings. Maybe you're not the best artist and you don't want to actually paint a fish, but you could pour paint a fish or make a skin like this. This is great for adding to those pour paintings that you have and you're like, they're a little bit boring, or maybe they need something, or maybe it looked like water. Well, this is the place that you could use this. This is a great way to embellish your pour paintings. So here I have a painting that I scraped, and what's really cool is it's got lots of silver and green. So we're going for water. This is a really cool color. If you haven't seen it, Master's Touch has some pearlized colors. This is pearlized golden green. And I'm just going to add that. You can see it actually matches what I've already got going on here, so that's pretty cool. So I am going to mix some colors. Okay, once you have your background, then you can take your skin and arrange it anywhere you want it. So this pretty underwater shimmery effect here. This could be done to any kind of pour painting. This was just a scrape and I just made a quick background on the back since I didn't have any watery kinds of backgrounds. And here you can take your spray adhesive, or you can take something like Diamond Glaze or E6000 and attach it. You can also attach it with varnish. Just need to be very careful that you don't have anything that's going to raise a skin, because some of them will kind of stay to the outside when you attach. But your spray adhesive works great. I'm not going to spray it in here right now just because I don't want to inhale those fumes. So that's all you have to do, and you can make all kinds of skins this way. If you haven't seen my other videos on how to make all kinds of skins for jewelry, for projects, how to make an entire artwork installation out of skins that you can pour, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Until next time, bye now.